Join us today for an action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball, where we talk about some of our favorite rising stars for the 2024 season.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Sports Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB. Here, as always, with my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew Arnay, and you can find him on Twitter at Matthew_Arnay. If you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. If you're watching on YouTube and haven't already, hit that little bell below. It subscribes to the channel and also gives you a notification every time we drop a new episode. And lastly, but most importantly, this time of year, as you know, everyone's getting back into the swing of things, join us on the Subtext platform. Matt and I have finally released our rankings, very detailed at every single position. We go about, 40 deep at all the infield positions, outfield and starting pitcher. I know Matt and I got well over 100 at each of those. Closers, I know we got, a closer for every team pretty much slotted in there. So come check out those rankings out on Subtext. Also, we're going to have buzz, breakout, sleepers, and much more stuff coming up on Subtext as we get into the season. But guys, real quick, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started today. And as I spoke about at the top, we're talking about our favorite rising stars heading into the 2024 season. And Matt, my brother, who are we talking about first today?
All right. A little Matthew McConaughey action, but we're going to talk about Mr. Cole Reagan's over here. Superstar that got, traded over from the Rangers over to the Kansas City Royals. Came on the scene and just made an absolute splash and really handled business once he got on that team. It's actually really ridiculous, quite honestly. Since joining the Royals, my guy had 71 innings pitched. He had an ERA of 2.64, 89 strikeouts, and a whip of 107. Phenomenal numbers once he got the move over there. Whereas on Texas, with the 24 innings and the limited appearances, hit a 5.92 ERA. Still had that K per 9, so that part was special, but also the whip was much higher and a 1.397. I think Reagan's found something, or the pitching coach over there really just saw something and gave him a little tip and kind of changed his whole, momentum. Maybe even just given the opportunity, the dude just felt like, okay, I have an organization behind me, and got the bump. But it looks like he's here to stay, and he looks like he's going to be a force in 2024. So as of right now, I have Reagan's as my 22 overall starting pitcher. I feel like it's a nice price. It's a price that, like, okay, I'm still not happy I got to pay, but I completely understand why I do. And he's somebody that, when I'm face down the barrel of, okay, if it's him, or let's see who I got around him, right? We'll talk about, you got Reagan's, him, or like Framil Valdez or Sonny Gray or Logan Gilbert. Those are guys I have directly behind him. Reagan's comes in that conversation of, who do I feel more comfortable walking away with as my 2? And he's a little bit more of a riskier pick, but the upside is there for Reagan's. So with that being said, I might just go and lean upside depending on who my pitcher 1 is. And it could be real nice. Like if I walk away with, like, I don't know, Garrett Cole, and then I got a super safe dude, pair him up with Cole Reagan's. I feel like it's like a no-brainer because, even if he doesn't live up to the draft price per se, maybe he's worth maybe a round or 2 below. I got Garrett Cole, just backing that up and making up for the loss at Reagan's. And if he hits, you're absolutely a monster. So Cole Reagan, fair price.
Matt, actually, that was some super spot on analysis. Looks like you're already rounding into midseason form here, as this is what we do. I don't have too much to add except those, changes you talked about when he went over from Texas to Kansas City really just unlocked that next level here for Cole Reagans. And at 25 years old, all the changes are super believable. The ace upside is legit. The ADP has not gotten out of control yet with Cole Reagans, which I like to see. Pitcher 49 overall, and once again we're using NFBC ADP here. NFBC is kind of big time fantasy baseball league. A lot of the big time guys play on there, and it's one of the only places that you can really draft on this early. 163 drafts. Once again, Cole Reagan, 49th pitcher. You can't sort by starting and relief pitchers. So I think there's about 10, 12, relief pitchers mixed in there. So you're looking at maybe SP 37, pick 113 for Cole Reagan. Once again, I'm on board with that right now. I love to get him as my SP3. Once you're talking about the SP2 range, it's kind of tough with a guy like Reagan who's breaking out. You don't know how much you can really trust him. It's really an upside pick. I don't know how much Cole Reagans I'll have this year if the price gets up to that SP2 range, even though I have Reagans ranked as my 24th starting pitcher overall. Matt, once again, I hate to keep beating the same drum that you were. It gets to a point where you're looking at names like Joe Ryan, Framber Valdez, Joe Musgrove, Kyle Bradish, and it's who do you trust the most there? It may not be Cole Reagans, but once again, if you want to play that upside, it's definitely a good name to go towards. Let's move on to somebody else, maybe a name that you guys are more familiar with, had a monster breakout season this year. It was George Kirby of the Seattle Mariners. I absolutely love George Kirby. I had him in one of my leagues last year. One of the guys I have to decide on if I'm keeping or not in that league, going into this season. We'll see how it goes. But, right now it's looking like George Kirby, potentially top 10 starting pitcher heading into next season. At age 25, Kirby made 31 starts last year, 3.35 ERA, 13 wins, 10 losses, 190 innings, 172 strikeouts, and a 103 whip with a 3.34 FIP. Once again, FIP, fielding independent pitching, ERA indicator was spot on to his ERA. Absolutely love that for the young George Kirby. He's currently coming off the board as the 8th starting pitcher. And I mean, I get it. I totally understand, a guy like Kirby that, has a very good fastball, a good slider, mixes in a curve and a changeup that are, solid as well every once in a while. It's just that he doesn't walk anybody. It's super pinpoint control for Kirby. And, that good slider and fastball combo, it can play up for potentially more strikeouts, right? And if Kirby does that, that's kind of where that top 10, pick is coming from. I think he could definitely get to that K per 9. I have Kirby as my 10th starting pitcher overall. I think a very trustworthy, SP1 with upside even, to be honest with you.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I completely hear you. As to why you're, feeling the way you do, whether you're not sure if he is, you're one at that point. But also too, like Kirby has and this is how I'm looking at Kirby, at least. He has a floor of Sandy Alcantara in 2022 where he just eats up a whole bunch of innings and comes up about 20 short for the K per 9. Or he takes the next step where I think he's going to be, and he has, over a K per 9, at least a K per 9 with 200 innings, and George Kirby is an instant SP1. And that's why I have him at legit, my, where do I have him now? As my pitcher 7, honestly. I am totally okay with walking away with him as my SP1 and just, putting my feet up and say, yo, I got an ace, because I think Kirby's got another level to the K's just because of that pinpoint accuracy. And he may not have to blow you away with the stuff, and he's just super creative with his pitch mix and be able to just, beat everybody with his control. And I feel like Kirby's just an elite arm, and there's no reason, he can't be the safest option out there. So George Kirby, 100% bona fide SP1 this year.
And it's a great ballpark too. Great ballpark to pitch in.
And a great team. They're going to get a lot of wins. So George Kirby's upside, and ceiling and floor is not too far off. He's not only a safe pick and why he has a really good floor, another reason why I like him in my top 10, but also the ceiling capabilities are just outrageous. But, before we move on, we talk about all these other great guys we got going on. We got a sponsor for you. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in the action than now. The app is super easy to use. There's wide range of betting options, including point spread, player props, over and under, and so much more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off this NFL season right. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right. Locked On has launched its first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering top stories of the day with local experts on Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. So go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national 24/7 streaming channel. Plus, everydayers and new listeners, if you want to get more than what you're getting on this 30-minute podcast, join us on the Diamond Club on Subtext. We have just released our first rounds of early rankings for redrafts. We are going to be soon releasing our Wave 2. And at some point in this new year, we're going to be adding tiers into those rankings so that you can see where our tiers break off. Plus, prospect rankings. Plus, if I get around to it, or if Dom gets around to it, dynasty rankings, our extended bus lists, our extended sleeper lists, and so much more. Check it out today. You're not going to want to miss out on this great opportunity to win your leagues. Now, with all the advertising set aside, I think it's safe to say we can move on, right, Dom? He's a little frozen. It's all good. All right. We're going to talk about Mr. Ryan.
I don't. Can you hear me, brother? I know my internet's acting up a little bit tonight on me. Am I in there clear, or?
I think you're better now. You still look a little fuzzy, like I drank a bunch, but you're good.
Okay, all right.
All right.
All right, good.
All right.
Let's hop back in there. Let's give the fans what they're looking for. Let's talk about this next guy. Let's talk about Ryan Pepiot, right? Ryan Pepiot goes over, in the big Tyler Glasnow trade, goes to that Tampa Bay Rays team. And I actually like the move. I think it's a solid move. The Rays are notorious at, developing good pitching over the last few years. Perfect example. Look what they did with Zach Eflin, who just came over the last year, was honestly a Cy Young contender in the AL last year. I think they're expecting a decent amount from, the young Pepiot. I don't think he's going to get messed around with like he did, at the end of last year with the Dodgers. I think he's going to be a staple in that rotation. Because honestly, it's looking something like Eflin, Savale, Littell, Pepiot, and Taj Bradley. So I think they're going to let the kid throw. I think we could see 150, 160 innings from Pepiot this year. I think it's a very realistic expectation. I think, it's a guy we could be expecting, a low to mid 3s ERA. Around a K per 9. He does have good stuff, so he definitely can hit that, right around that K per 9 marker. Sits with around 94 on average with that. Fastball gets a little bit higher than that. Throws a changeup about 35% of the time. Mixes in a slider as well. And the control was super, super awesome. I hope that gain sticks. Pepiot did have a little bit of control issues down in the minors, but came up to the majors this year for 42 innings. Had a 2.14 ERA with a 0.76 WHIP. So once again, if those control gains can stick, Tampa works with him. I really think there's a lot of upside with Pepiot, especially, you're not paying a lot for him off the board right now. 81st pitcher overall, pick 204. I'm loving that value. I honestly have Pepiot a lot higher. I have Pepiot as my pitcher 38 right now. I really just think there's a lot of upside here, and I think Tampa can honestly take him to the next level.
Yeah, facts, bro. Honestly, great job with that. I'm a big Pepiot guy. The fact that he's leaving the Dodgers and going to Tampa doesn't really hurt me or my outlook on Pepiot, and the rule don't apply either because he never really had a home in the Dodgers because he pretty much just landed there, for 42 innings this season. So it's not like this move is going to kill him anyway since he was across 2 teams, I believe, in 2 levels last year. No, just AAA. So 2 teams, his AAA team and then the Dodgers. So, Pepiot really hasn't, made a home yet, which kind of makes me feel a little bit safer about him being able to just step up and, take charge of this Tampa rotation and also take away from the pressure of being on LA with that stacked team and whatnot. So Pepiot shouldn't even get dodgered either, which is another thing now. So I'm even more bullish on him. It's going to be interesting to see where his final landing spot is in my rankings. But yeah, Pepiot is going to be great. Let's move on here. Let's talk about a bat. Let's talk about one of my favorite guys from last year. that didn't fully live up to my expectation, but also still did his thing, and that's Jordan Walker. Jordan Walker, we all know, big body dude, young man, getting the call up. Got diddled around a little bit by the Cardinals, which I wasn't happy about, but ultimately, they did what they had to do so they can keep control, even though they said it's all the ground ball and fielding issues, but it really wasn't. And it kind of hurt his production, in my opinion. It took him a little bit to, turn it on. But I feel like this year he's going to come back for vengeance with a full season, knowing he's not going to be sent down at any time and really do it. And last year's numbers aren't atrocious either, if you really think about it. 420 at bats, 51 runs, 19 doubles, 2 triples, 16 bombs, 51 ribs, 7 stolen bases, 37 walks to 104 strikeouts, batted 276. Like, Walker hits the ball hard. His exit velo is phenomenal. And the dude's super quick. Like, we didn't even get to really see his speed. Like, the dude has, that Acuna upside, in my opinion, or at least a 30 stolen base season with 30 bombs. Like, the power is there. There's no way he's not going to be a 30-30 guy at 6'6", 248 pounds. Like, Jordan Walker is a unit. So the young dude just got to kind of just get a full season. Hopefully, he was being more effective to what was going on the underwhelming St. Louis Cardinals, and kind of, this year they all kind of take a step forward as a team, and he kind of leads the way as the new face of the organization and the new superstar there.
Yeah, Matt, great take. I think we're spot on with Jordan Walker here. He's somebody that I honestly think this time next year is a candidate for an outfield number 1. I think Jordan Walker can be an outfielder number 1 next year at this time. There's power upside, there's speed upside. Growing pains last year as a rookie. My saying that I always go by is not everyone's going to be Acuna or Soto or Tatis and have that monster rookie season. Sometimes it's a slow grind. And, at 21 years old, Jordan Walker has hardly even peaked yet. I have him as my outfielder number 23. Right now, Jordan Walker's ADP is the outfielder 26, pick 121 overall. I'm loving that right now. If I can get him as my outfielder number 2, I'm walking away pretty happy from the draft. And honestly, Matt, you did a very strong job on talking about him there. I really don't have too much else to add. So let's move on to this next guy here. Another guy I'm super excited about going into this upcoming season. It's ONeal Cruz. Now, ONeal Cruz missed most of last season. I forget what the exact injury was. Matt, was it an ACL for ONeal Cruz or an MCL?
No, neither. It was it broke his ankle sliding into home, because my guy at 6'6" does not know how to slide.
Yeah, right. Well, I think that's what it was. That sounds right to me. Yeah, he fractured his ankle, out for the season. So man, there's just think Elly De La Cruz. Think everything that we were expecting from Elly De La Cruz. That's what we were expecting from ONeal Cruz, even before Elly De La Cruz made his debut. The guy is in the top percentile of, hitting the ball as hard as anybody else. He throws the ball defensively as hard as anybody else from that shortstop position. And he just really, really has so much upside. Another guy that you're talking about 30-30 upside. Even honestly, I could see him hitting even for more power. The guy just hits the ball so hard. You're talking about a guy, maybe even 40 plus home runs. I don't know about this upcoming year, but at some point in ONeal Cruz's career, you're talking about a guy that's going to go 40, 30 at least minimum. The Pirates team that's surrounding him is pretty questionable. I don't know if they have a strong run like they did last year at any point this year. So the counting stats might be pretty mediocre, but if even ONeal Cruz could go 80 runs, 80 RBIs with 32 homers and 35 steals with a 260, 270 batting average, I think it's absolutely going to be worth it. And that's just like a base for ONeal Cruz. I'm predicting that as like a baseline for him. He could even be even better than that. Right now, he's coming off the board as the 12th shortstop, pick 82. I honestly think that's a bargain. If you wait at shortstop, you're getting a great deal on a great player. I have him as my 10th shortstop off the board in my rankings at the moment, and just love ONeal Cruz. Honestly, has all the upside in the world. I think he's going to be a bargain this year.
Dude, great take. And, before I give my side on it, I just, we got one last ad break for you guys. All right. So, like, Dom, I completely agree with everything you're saying on ONeal Cruz. Like, quite honestly, dude, like, I feel like the ADP one hasn't readjusted yet. And also too, like, at this time of the year too, guys get like super cute with like, drafting and kind of like try and be like, okay, like maybe he's not going to be full health. They don't have all the news. Maybe he's not going to play opening day, overthink everything. But like ONeal Cruz, until I hear that he is not playing, opening day, he's going to be my number 7 again. It's so weird. Two guys talk about at number 7 at the position, shortstop.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, everything you said is 100%. I don't even need to repeat anything other than the fact that, like, if he's even playing in spring training, he might move up. Like, ONeal Cruz is a crazy talent. He's a crazy talent. Like, I love this dude. And once he starts doing ONeal Cruz things, the draft price is going to be nowhere near that. So, we'll just
it's
wait
a bargain right now. It's a bargain right now.
Yeah, like quite honestly, go do an NFBC draft all the guys that we're telling you that we're just saying the ADP is absolutely ridiculous on, and you're going to be like, okay, I just won. Just do it
You'll
now.
probably do all right.
Yeah, you'll be just fine. But all right, enough about that because we don't need to beat something that was quite honestly well propped up and spoke about. Great job. Let's talk about Christopher Morel. My guy is actually interesting. So he was like a waiver wire, like,
Darling.
Yeah. Like he came up and just like pretty much said, yo, I'm him. I'm here and I'm going to make a splash. In 388 at bats, he had 62 runs, 17 doubles, 3 triples, 26 bombs, 70 ribs, 6 stolen bases. Loves to strike out, but it is what it is. Batted about 247 on the season, but the batting average and whatnot really doesn't really speak to what he actually did. So like he had really just like a couple of rough months, like in the batting average category, but like his first month in the bigs, first time seeing real deal, what do you call it, pitching. Even though he did get a taste of it in 22, but like I feel like that wasn't the year for him. First time he really came up this year and like pretty much showed out. It's 71 at bats, 17 runs, 3 doubles, 9 bombs, 16 ribs, a stolen base, and batted 296. In June, he came out, he batted 257, had 5 home runs, 18 ribs, and did his thing. In July, he batted 291 again, only had 2 bombs. August was rough. He had like a 149 ERA batting average with 3 bombs. But then September, October picked it right back up. The batting average was a little minuscule, 241, but 7 bombs again. Like the dude is somebody with like some serious upside. And I love thinking about what this kid can do. He also is a Swiss Army knife with outfield and second base eligibility, which I love. Like honestly, like I have Morel. Where do I have him at second base here? I need to add him there. Um, and at outfield, I even have him pretty decently high as well. I have him at 26. Like
Oh wow.
speaks, yeah, right. I mean, it speaks volumes too, because quite honestly, like like it's the 26th outfielder is pretty damn good. So I can imagine where I'm going to move him into my second base rankings if it's eligible on the platforms. It may just be his baseball reference page.
Yeah,
But
he had made 19 appearances at second base last year. So unless your platform has him at 20 games at the position, you should be all right.
yeah, so he's gonna be slotted in pretty high if I'm really gonna look at this now.
I have him at 12 at second base at the moment.
That's a fair price. I just honestly, I think he's gonna go at probably about 9. I'm gonna move him right in front of Edward Julian, I think, because on my newest rankings, Bryson Stott has moved up to 8 for me.
Nice.
And
I like it.
yeah.
I like the love. I like love for my boy Stott.
So and I'm rocking out all the Philly stuff today. So, but anyway, I don't know. I seem to just be infatuated with Christopher Morel this year.
Yeah, I like Morel. I don't know if I like him as much as you do, my brother, but I definitely like him. The biggest question is going to be that batting average because he doesn't see the ball very well. A big swing and miss guy, just big chase guy. A lot of strikeouts. Sometimes you can get away with that in today's game, as Matt and I always talk about. But Morel, I don't foresee batting average in his game, but the power is super, super legit in every, category that you would want to see a power, hitter excel in. Morel excels, and it's so funny because he's not a big guy at all at 5'11", 145, and the guy honestly has 35 home run upside. I think the runs and the RBI should be solid in that Cubs lineup. The steals, I think you're talking about a guy who's in the 81st percentile when you're talking about sprint speed, very, very fast. So he can steal. I could see him stealing 20 plus bases. And once again, that batting average is so suspect. I could see it being anywhere from like 235 to 255. I know it's a big range, but I think Morel is going to live somewhere in there. I haven't exactly figured out, everything. That 247 batting average from last year in 107 games, 388 at bats. I think that's sustainable. But just the guy that's going to go through, in head-to-head situation, there's going to be weeks where he does absolutely nothing for you. There's going to be weeks where he, wins you the week. Very Kyle Schwarber-esque profile here from, Christopher Morel. But I have him once again 12th at second base. I have him 38th at outfielder. I could see it moving up, a little bit, after, hearing my brother Matt's thoughts on it and, just looking at the names in that area, maybe one or two names I could pass him up over. But with that being said, hop back on in there, Matt.
I just want to throw it out there. Even if he has like a 250 batting average, where I kind of think he's going to be like 250, right?
Yeah.
All right. Who would you, seriously, real question, right?
Yeah, of course.
All right. I have him at 26. Him or George Springer?
Springer higher.
You're crazy. All right. Him or Jazz?
I think I have Jazz a lot higher, like a significant amount higher.
Wow. Okay.
I have Jazz at 20.
All right. I will talk you off the ledge on that in a little bit.
Springer I have at 32, so that's more of a debate.
Okay. Him or Brian Reynolds?
I have Brian Reynolds at 37.
Okay.
That's a good one. That's right. Spot on.
Like, I look at Morel and I'm like, yo, if he hits 250 with the power.
Yeah, no, it's legit power too. That's the thing. If this guy goes out there and hits 35 home runs with 95 RBIs, hits the 250 and steals you 20 bases, you're talking about a very, very strong player for fantasy.
Yeah. All right. Enough on Morel. This is your guy. So, he's my guy too, but he's yours. You can take it, bro.
Well, let's hop back. And this name is such an interesting one for me. Let's talk about Joe Adell here for a minute. A guy who you always, whenever you really think he has it figured out, it just something happens where, it doesn't work out for Joe Adell, right? Because last year got called up, I think he hit a home run. It was in his first game. He looked good. Only played a couple of games, was up for an injury for somebody. Then he got the real chance. Mike Trout goes down. It was Joe Adell's time to shine, and then he hits the IL with, I believe it was an oblique issue that kept him out for quite a while last year. He played so good in the minors last season, Joe Adell did, though. Joe Adell played 74 games in the minors last year, 278 at-bats, had 62 runs, 15 doubles, 24 home runs, and once again, in 278 at-bats, 74 games, 24 home runs, 57 RBIs, 9 steals, hit 273. Joe Adell's going to be 25 next year. The thing is, I don't know. I don't think he's guaranteed a spot in that outfield going into opening day. Honestly, at this point, I would love to see the Angels just trade him, move on from Adell, get him to a team where he could play every day, or just give him the shot. Just see at 25 years old, a guy who was a top prospect, throw him out there and just see what he can do at this point in his career. I mean, I know it's a crowded, it's even without Ohtani, it's still very crowded over there. In the outfield, and then even DH, you got a guy like Jury, who also can move around the infield. Let's see what Anthony Rendon's 34-year-old butt can do. I don't think it's much, honestly. I'd rather throw Joe Adell in that lineup, move Jury, let him play third, and put Adell at DH. Just let the young kid play. There's a lot of upside in that bat. There's power, there's speed. At times, it looks like there can be batting average. The plate discipline looks better at certain times than others. Like 40 walks to 87 strikeouts in the minors last year isn't atrocious. But let me stop my Joe Adell rant there. Matt, chime on in real quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it quick because we gotta get out of here. But right now, he's not slotted into the lineup.
I did.
It's really annoying, but you know what? Honestly, probably the best thing for his career if he got out of that organization because they are the dumbest organization in all of baseball. So Angels just suck as a whole. Anyway, we'll see if he goes to a new team or they announce that he makes it like he's going to be one of our sleeper picks. So just like keep his name in the back of your head. Like he's nobody that's like, hey, you must go out there and get, but like a name that's definitely worth not forgetting. But Dom, get us out of here real quick.
Yeah, that's all for today, guys. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Also, thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. Look out for a new episode tomorrow. But until then, guys, see you.